Now to some input from Kevin Slagle, the head of communications at Wester States Petroleum Association. All right, first off, thanks so much for joining us, Kevin.
You bet, glad to be here.
And we're glad to have you. So we obviously heard from some folks on both sides there, but from your point of view, what impacts will the governor's decision to ban future fracking have on the state?
Well, big impacts. And as you know, Kern County, the impacts are nearly 10,000 jobs, about $230 million in tax revenue, about $1.7 million in other economic activity in the county. And then if you look at the entire state, the numbers are even bigger. So when you look at the impacts on families, on workers, on local economies, to ban fracking, and rather than work collectively towards climate solutions, it's a big hit.
Yeah, certainly. And as you're talking about all those impacts there, I'm just naturally thinking, what is the next steps for industries like yours?
Well, for us, we are going to work with workers, community leaders, and others who wish to protect safe, affordable, and reliable energy in the state to fight this harmful and what we believe is an unlawful mandate. So we know we're going to be a key part of an equitable energy future in the state. And so we will fight with all means necessary to make sure that's the case.
Absolutely. So my question is, obviously it's no surprise that the governor is making this policy change, as he's talked about it pretty much throughout his entire tenure as governor. What do you say to all those folks out there that say this is going to improve our health?
Look, a couple of things on that. Our workers, they live and have families in these same communities. They're innovators. They care about the environment. They care about where they work and where they live and where they play, just like everybody else in the community. And, one of the great things about our industry is we do hard things, and we're innovators, and we have people who are conscientious and inclusive and want to find solutions. So to the folks who say who don't want us to be a part of the solution, what we say is, let's work together. Let's find an all the above strategy that makes more sense. We recognize that renewables and more sustainable forms of energy are important. We recognize that more EVs are going to be on the roads. Our member companies are a part of those solutions. They invest in those solutions. They create those solutions. So we want to work together. We rather than being driven apart through bans and mandates and really, looking for political solutions rather than real solutions based on science and data. Yeah. We can be a part of that. We want to be.
Kevin, certainly. I want to ask you this because I know you're aware of pretty much the entire oil industry throughout California. Well, you know that here in Kern County, an ordinance was passed that will basically allow for thousands of new oil wells to come here within the next several years. So I'm just kind of curious, how does this policy by the governor impact that initiative?
Certainly a ban would affect, any of the hydraulic fracturing wells that would be covered by all of that. So this is a ban, just as he stated. This is a mandate. Again, we believe an unlawful one, but all of that work and all that study that was just completed really it would be impacted by this for those types of wells. But I think the bigger picture is really where are they going with this? I mean, let's think about what happens if all production is banned in California. Not just 20%, but what about all? Is that where they're heading with all this? How do you fuel the 30 to 40 million cars and trucks that will still be on the road in 2035 or 2045? Let me pause you there. So the work that was done on that is, could be very much impacted by this ban.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on something important. You said what happens down the road. Well, according to the governor, that by 2045 he wants all fracking to, be done with. From what I understand. So it is seeming like it's going in that direction. Does the oil industry have to come up with something innovative? What's there?
Yeah, it's not just fracking he wants by 2045. I mean, he's asked CARB to look at banning all oil production in California. And so if it's not produced here, it's coming from somewhere, and where it's coming from, they do not have the same environmental standards that we do. So the impacts aren't reduced, or they're increased actually. But yeah, of course, we're always looking for solutions. Again, our folks are innovators. We're investing in and working on solar projects. We're working on ways to capture and store carbon. We're working towards the future, with a lot of investment, a lot of hard work, a lot of smarts. And that's why we continue to say we want to be partners in this energy future. We want to be at the table working on solutions. We don't want to be banned. We don't want our workers and their families to be banned from this energy future that the state needs.
All right, Kevin, well, it's always a pleasure having you, and we'll definitely be chatting and bringing you back on sometime soon. Have a good rest of your day.
Great. Thanks for having us.